Hey there, welcome to Contracts and Chaos. My name's Alyssa.
And I'm Brenna, and we're here to tell you that you are not alone in the mayhem of this real estate industry.
We're keeping it real and sharing our stories, strategies, and successes in today's real estate world.
So come join us every Tuesday while we talk contracts and chaos.
A royale on my desk.
Oh, with your cats?
Yeah, one just jumped
Great.
up, not realizing the other was up here. Okay.
If you guys could see the video, maybe this will be a clip. There's just
Might
like
need to
this
be a-
random tail flicking Alyssa in the face.
Oy.
What's up, George?
I just caught
Okay.
him. I'll tell you when we're not recording what I caught him doing earlier.
Oh, no.
We'll just say he got sprayed. He got sprayed hard. Little turd.
Got squirt bottles all around your house, do you?
Oh, this was kitchen sink. I just grabbed
kitchen- oh,
the
wow.
faucet and went after
Oh,
him.
we fire hosed him. All right.
Yeah.
Today, we are talking about buyer motivation.
Yes.
It's like, tell me what you want. Like,
What you really, really want.
what you really, really want. I can't help you if I don't know what you want. And if you don't know what you want, like, that's a problem.
Well, and I think it's not even the what, it's the why a lot of the time. Why
that's what I was just gonna
are
say.
we doing this? What's our, like, I have a client now. It's more about she needs to save money every month and she wants her kids in better schools. So, yes, the house needs to be solid on top of that. But it's not I need a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. It's I need only these school areas. So eliminate these others. And I need the taxes under this amount and the purchase price under this amount. And I'm like, heard.
Woo.
Oh, yeah. But I love it because
yeah.
she's very on top of it. And we have wasted no time looking at things that won't fit the box. It's great. It's like so streamlined. I'm loving it.
It's so important because I feel like the more flexible buyers are, sometimes you need them to be a little flexible. Sometimes you get buyers that come in, they're like, no, I'm not looking at that because XYZ.
Right.
But sometimes the ones that are too flexible, like, oh, like it doesn't really matter. I'm just waiting for the feeling, those are the hardest
Yes,
ones.
Or like I've mentioned it before, God will tell me. Okay. Does he have a spreadsheet? Because I could use a spreadsheet.
Can he email me bullet points?
How does he deliver that? Like, what are his qualifiers?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
no, it's true
it's so
because,
hard.
or like the unrealistic ones are the hard ones too. Who are like, I want the 4-bedroom, 3-bath on 2 acres under 100,000.
I got one of those right now. Under
I could probably get you
150,
2
and I'm
acres
like,
under 100,000, but
yeah,
there ain't gonna be anything on it.
no. I was like, oh, no, 150,000, 4 beds, 2 baths, 2 acres, and I'm like,
Yeah.
nope.
Or
It's
then
not
they're
gonna
like, well,
happen.
we could put a modular on it. No, still not going to be under 150. Promise
It's still
you.
not. No,
Promise
it's crazy.
you.
But I think in this market specifically, and we're going to do another episode on seller motivations too, is really being able, I feel like they all come back to some basic motivations, right? Everybody has a different font of things that they're looking for. But if you're going back to, again, the why and not necessarily just the what, there's always something deeper rooted that is causing this change, whether they're upsizing or downsizing. I've got a client right now, they're expecting in September unexpectedly, which is so exciting, but now where they're at is not doable anymore. So digging into that, I think, is important, and it makes them feel really seen and really heard instead of just like, oh, okay, well, here you said 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, here's 57 houses that are 3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
I think we've said this
like, or
before.
like
There's a lot of... Go
I
ahead.
have clients now who are like, we can do a 3-bedroom if it has a loft, if it has a bonus room. So I had it set for 3 to 4 bedrooms. Instead of 2 separate searches, I should have 3 bedrooms with a loft. But I think breaking it down, there's really, in my opinion, 2 types of motivation. We have the practical, the babies, the diamonds, the divorces, the finances, whatever, a relocation, the we have tos.
Yeah, those
And
are...
we have the emotional, or like the emotional. We don't like our neighborhood. Or we need, like, I got the house in the divorce, but all I can picture is his mistress in the bedroom. Okay, then let's get you out of this. Or mine, when I bought my house, it was totally emotional. I wanted the backyard for my dog. And I wanted the kitchen area to be able to entertain people. And that's what I could picture myself cooking at my stove with people milling around my house for like a dinner party.
Yep.
I still don't have a dining room table after 6 years, but those are the emotional. So I think you have to break it down. Is it wants and needs? And if it's both, which one outweighs the other?
Yeah, and play to that one, right? Because obviously, that's their motivation, whether it be personal or practical or emotional, that's how they're going to lean. So if you're trying to make it about a practical, like you need a second bedroom, but they're really just worried about that wraparound front porch. That's what they want because that reminds them of their grandmother's house. You're speaking a foreign language. It's just like when we did an episode on, what was it called? Like we were sixes. Oh, Enneagrams, like how to speak to somebody, right? So if you've got a client that needs bullet points, they don't care about the fluff and nonsense. They want boom, 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 boom. Here's our next steps. This is what we're doing. Versus somebody who wants to be nurtured, wants to have a conversation, wants to tell their story. It's the same thing with motivations. It's the same thing. If you're trying to speak to them in a way that they're not listening, it's just hard.
Right. Yeah, like I had clients once who said they wanted a certain area because she wanted to be close to this restaurant that sells this amazing fried chicken sandwich. And it wasn't about the chicken sandwich. It was about the way she felt sitting on the deck at that restaurant.
Oh my God,
and
I
so
feel that.
She wanted to know she could have that whenever she wanted. But, which made, once I had the chicken sandwich and I experienced the deck, I was like, I get this.
I get it.
I get it. I want this too. But the other everything they kept looking at was very mid-century in the mountains. And I was like, ooh, that like narrows it down. I threw them one out of absolute left field and literally said to them, just try it. We're already up here. Just give me an extra 15 minutes. Go look at this one. Because it was much more of a classic layout, but it had this yard. And I just looked at the yard in the pictures and I was like, that's Paige's backyard. Like, it has a pool. There was a platform deck the previous owners had built for yoga. I don't even know if Paige does yoga, but I just saw Paige here. And I had looked at the floor plan, and one of the things she kept telling me was, I want to be able to take 26 steps across a room. I need a room that I can take 26 steps across. And I want the house to the layout that I can disappear and hear people say, where's Paige? Where's Paige? And they don't know where I am. Literally during that showing, her husband went, hey, where's Paige? And I was like,
yes.
But
we got it.
I had to lean into the emotion because if I leaned into the tactical on that one or the practical of we want this many bedrooms, this much square footage, you know, like this style of a house, it wasn't going to work. They've now lived in that house.
Listen, sometimes I can't articulate what I want, right? Travis, like, what do you want for dinner? I know what I want. I can't spit it out.
Right. I can feel
tell
it,
you,
but I don't know how to tell you.
I don't want Mexican. I know that. Like, I'm not feeling a taco tonight, but like, I don't know. I do know, but I can't tell you. When you sit me down in the booth and I'm like, yes, I'm so happy. This is it. This is what I wanted. And he's like, I knew that.
Right? Or mine is always
Thank
like,
God.
I want something sweet and cakey, but not cake and not chocolate.
Oh, that's aggressive.
I've yet to figure out what that is, and it's been driving me for months now.
Okay, great. But it's important. You need to be my Travis, right? You need to take them by the hand and be like, okay, darling, I know exactly where we're headed with this. Because I worked with this buyer, this one that I just showed yesterday, we showed 1 million homes. They've been up here before and we looked. It's been like almost 6 months since I met them and we had our original onboarding, but we've only toured houses together twice, right?
Right.
Sometimes you're going to have buyers that you work with consistently for 6 months, a year even. So it's very important for you to get this right because this is going to be your guiding light, but it should be their guiding light too. Because it's a stressful situation, right? Buying a house is a big decision. It's a stressful decision. And being able to fall back on that motivation, whether it is practical or emotional, and being able to speak to that and remind them of that in that house, in that moment, or like you have that like, oh, he doesn't know where she is. This is it, right? Yep. Just really, really, really makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I think like to like discover it, like once you can figure out how to identify it as they're experiencing it, but you have to know how to discover it first too. Like what questions am I asking to find out what the motivation is? So I really like going with open-ended ones.
Yes.
What's prompting this move? Why are we doing this? What is it that you picture about moving to Tryon, closer to the chicken sandwich, that would make life so much better that we're willing to do this right now? Or
I like to say, what's bringing you here? Or bringing you to Hickory or to Lincolnton or something like that.
Right.
And then when we do a buyer onboarding too, because we always ask like, oh, do you have kids? Do you have like whatever space we're looking for, right? But this is my favorite one. And I don't think people ask it that much because it always gets like, wow, that's a good question. What are you missing in your home, right? And normally I feel like out of everything, it is a bigger kitchen, or another bedroom. Like their family's growing, that kind of thing. It's usually a kitchen or a bedroom, which is funny, but it makes them think, right? Which is helpful for us.
Yep. That or like, and I listened for the emotional. I need to feel. I've always wanted.
Yep.
It's important to me. Those are emotional things. Like the client I'm working with right now, it's important to her that her kids are in a better school district, even if it means it's lesser of a house. The schools are more important to her. So, that and the finances. I need to feel more financially stable. I don't want to be paycheck to paycheck because of my mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's...
go ahead.
Go ahead.
That practical, like financial can be emotional because that's scary. That, especially with kids, like I can't imagine. It's one thing for me to run out of money and call mom to buy a bag of dog food. It's another thing when you got 3 kids running around. Like, no one wants to feel that way.
No, I can't. The other thing with this too is there are some, like I work with a lot of families, right? And there are some couples that like they work together very well. They're on board with each other. But if you're in a situation where it's pretty apparent that one person is leading this charge, like that we're more speaking to that person. It's hard for me sometimes because like I tend to lean towards the wife, the woman, like I'm a little bestie, but sometimes it is the husband that is making the decision and they're looking to him for guidance, right? So making sure that you're like aware of how they're making a decision and who's really got the heft of the weight on that decision is really important too.
Or who thinks they have the heft of the weight. Because sometimes one person thinks they do, but the other person actually does.
Yeah.
So you have to get that person to think that was totally their decision.
Totally their idea. I think the key here, though, for this is like, don't be afraid to ask the questions. And don't ask like generic questions. How many bedrooms do you need? Right. Oh, I need 4 bedrooms. Oh, okay. You have 3 kids, or no, you need an office space from home. Like, what is that difference? Because the more questions you ask, the better you're going to be able to narrow it down. And I swear to God, you guys, it is going to save you so much time and energy. Because if you're sending them 4-bedroom houses and it's not clicking for them, and you're like, oh, this is exactly what you said you wanted, but it's not what they wanted, because they wanted that 4th bedroom for something completely he wants it as a sound studio so he can make guitar recordings. Like,
I just sold one of those.
Ask the questions. Tell me more about... I had one recently that the outside of the house honestly was probably more important than the inside. Why? Because they're outdoor people. They wanted that backyard. They wanted, we're working on it. They want like a place to entertain. They want a hangout space, but they want it outside. The exterior part of the house is truly a bigger motivating factor for them than what the inside looks like. So
Right.
I think that's important. And then the next step for this is really taking those bits and pieces and forming it into a strategy that you can use to seek out that house, to be able to speak to them in a way that frames that house as they needed it. Because, and we say this for staging, we say this for houses that maybe need to be like decluttered and things like that. I can see through it, right?
Right.
Some buyers really can't.
Exactly.
They don't have the imagination to see themselves utilizing the space that's set up as a bedroom that has 2 twin beds in it that just looks cozy and cramped. They can't picture that as an at-home office because all they see is the pink teddy bears and shoes.
Right. I need your house to have character, but not a personality. I need
I
it.
like that.
Right. I like to say to people, you know that feeling when you walk into like a hotel room and it's curated, but like anyone probably feels comfortable there?
Yep.
That's what I need your house to feel like.
Yeah.
I want you
Like an Airbnb, like a nice, like,
Yes.
honestly, like one of those stay away hotels that has like a kitchenette and all of that stuff. Like you need something that is inviting and warm, but not something that they have to take pictures off the wall mentally and replace it.
right.
With
I just
them.
had that conversation with the seller, but we're going to talk about that in the seller one. We're in buyers.
Yes.
So let's
Yes,
come back
we're
to
talking
that.
Okay.
I think you brought up a good point. Like you use their motivation to prioritize showings. So if they've really leaned into, we love to entertain outside, or we want to build a home gym in the garage, but it also has to have room to park the cars, then those, when we're scrubbing listings, like after it's sent the auto ones, those are the ones I focus on. Hey, you guys said you wanted this, and this house maybe doesn't have the bonus room that we kind of were wanting, but look at this built-in kitchen outside, and by the way, they're leaving the squat rack in the garage.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like you have to, or like a simple one, if they're expecting twins or triplets, we're probably not looking at 2-bedroom houses unless they're like, no, the kids can share a bedroom. We just want to be out of an apartment.
Well, so, and that's one buyer right now that they're like, well, they're expecting their second child, right? And coming up soon. And she's like, well, we can look at 2 bedrooms. And I'm like, that doesn't like long term.
I have a cousin with 5 kids in a 1-bedroom apartment. I don't know how it
Bro,
works, but some people
You should
do,
see the house
so-
that I grew up in. Right, exactly. There was 11 of us.
Right? That's
And
one of my
were bunk
motivations
beds.
was 2 full bathrooms because I refuse to share a bathroom when people are visiting. And guess what? They still always crowd in my bathroom. So
They all
whatever.
still shoot. That is one thing too. And I grew up with 1 bathroom with 11 kids in the house, right? So when I moved in with Travis, there was only a couple of us in the house. I was like, this is amazing. But then when the kids started getting bigger, I was like, no, get out. I need my own bathroom. But no, that's important to be able to speak to them, be like, and say no. This is your job, you guys. This is what they pay you to do.
Yes.
If they're sending you a house, it doesn't automatically mean that goes on the showing list. If you're not scrubbing the listings that they are sending you as well and saying like, oh, I really love the kitchen in that one, but it doesn't have the 2-car garage, or
Right. Or room
why
to
would
build
we-
the one that you wanted.
Right. Why would we show this house? I know you're looking at it because it was just updated. We love the quartz countertops and you're really excited about that big couch in the living room, but that's not your couch.
Right. Or like
Probably
I
not
had
going to stay.
I had one day to find this kid a house, and he really liked like 1980s, 1990s construction, which is great. But a lot of the ones we were looking at in his price point were deteriorated. First house, move into a new city for a new job. And he was like, I can take on a project. And I was like, and thankfully his mom was there. And I was like, is this really going to support your goal though? Like, we're already closer to the top of your price point. You've said you want to upgrade in 6 months to a year and use this as an investment. Are you going to have the funds and the time to make this rentable in 6? Like, does this support your goal? Like, and the answer was no. So I found him one move-in ready. Okay, in 6 months, move out, put a tenant in it, and let's go. So I think it's very important, like you said, don't tell them no, but reframe it when they get distracted. Does this support the goal? does this give you that feeling you were looking for? Or are we just feeling like it's a sense of urgency because we got to get out of here? Or we, like I have one day.
It is their home. It is their decision. I feel like sometimes it's hard. You're like, that is not what you want. We've already talked about this. This isn't what you wanted. And then there are situations like you were just saying where they were leaning towards this specific style house so hardcore. And then you're like, oh, but look at this one. And I can't tell you how many times that's worked for me. I'm like, listen, I know that this isn't what you said, but I need you to look at it. Look at it with an open mind and tell me what you think. And that's the one that we ended up offering on, right? Sometimes they don't know because this isn't something, they haven't toured a billion houses like we have, right? Like they don't know until they know. And it's our job to make sure that those dots get connected and they end up where they need to be. But what are a couple of quick pro tips, red flags to look out for? Because we did agree that this one was going to be a quickie.
This is supposed to be a quickie.
It is a quickie.
Hey, we're just at 20 minutes, so that's pretty good for us. People who don't know their motivation or can't narrow it down, or people who, I'm dealing with one right now. I love them. They're sweet. They know their motivation. We are narrowing things down. Like they texted me last night, no more North Carolina. We only want South. I was like, cool, awesome. But people who financially aren't ready, like, they are waiting on a settlement. So we have a pre-approval, but they're waiting on a settlement so they can buy something a little bigger. We don't have that money yet. So I had to say, hey guys, till we know that date that money's being deposited, we really can't, because these houses are going to be gone. And you've told me money's not going to be here till mid to end July. I can't write an offer until I have proof of those funds.
Right.
And what if they don't come through? What if they get delayed? Then you'll lose your due diligence, your earn it. Like, and I came to them from a point of protection. Like, I don't want you to lose your money. I don't want you to get your hopes up and this house be gone. Or I had clients from Florida. Their house has been on the market like 5 times in the last 3 years. They've come up before. I showed them houses one night to get them familiar with an area they hadn't looked at before. But they came back and wanted to go again. And I said, where are we in Florida? Oh, well, we just lowered the price, and we have one showing scheduled. And I was like, until you guys are under contract or something's changing where we're getting more, I just don't, because again, these will be gone. So I think it's a better use of our time. What's going on with the house in Florida? Because if you don't have the motivation or they're not ready, we're just going to spin everyone's wheels and everyone's going to be burnt out by the time we're done with this. And that's not going to be a good relationship by the end.
Right. And I was just going to say, that's a boundary that you need to set for yourself as well, for you and your business. Because listen, and I've done it. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'll do that showing. And then they're not ready and they aren't ready and they still haven't bought with me. Right. And we've toured 5 or 6 houses and it was a complete, I don't want to say waste of time. I'm sure that it will end up happening one day, but it wasn't then. And that's time that could have been invested elsewhere. And when I'm framing this to them, we want to be respectful of their time as well, right? Why fall in love, get your hopes up for this property when it's probably not going to be an option for you in 30 or 45 days when these funds come through? So,
right. And there may not be something similar. So let's, it's back to the say yes to the dress. If you're not ready to say yes and you can't afford that dress, we're not trying it on. Sorry.
Yep. And then the other thing through this is just like keep that motivation and that whatever it is fresh in their mind during showings, after your buyer onboarding call. Like you can pop that in your Trello board for your reminder, but also email it back to them and be like, everything we talked about, this is what I'm hearing from you. Our home goals are XYZ. And that's just like, it gives somebody, it's very grounding, right? To be like, and this is what we're looking for.
It gives them a chance to be like, you know what? We're actually changing that. Thanks for the reminder that we said that. But now that we've seen some things, we've transitioned. So maybe their motivation is changing. Yeah, that's a great way to re-level set. But I think in interest of keeping this as a quickie, the big thing here, our point today is know the why. Don't just know the XYZ. Maybe the XYZ is the why. Maybe it is practical. But know their why. Dig a little deeper. And you'll be able to find your clients a home. Like, I think easier and faster. Because we can, it's like setting that filter of they want lakefront. And you set it for a golf course. The why is a filter. So don't forget that.
Great. We'll see you guys next week.
We just finished another episode of Contracts and Chaos, but believe me, the chaos does not stop here. So check out the show notes for our email address and where to follow us on socials, and we will see you next week.